The monsoon session of Indian Parliament begins today amid high political drama and tight security in the national capital. A major showdown is brewing as protesters press ahead with a planned march to the Parliament, despite Delhi police denying permission and imposing prohibitory orders. Well, thousands of students, parents and activists have been asked to gather at Jantar Mantar before the planned march in support of activist Sonam Wangchuk and the Cockroach Janata Party's demands for education reforms and accountability over the alleged NEET paper leak. However, Delhi police have made it very clear that no permission has been granted for the march. Prohibitory orders remain in force across the New Delhi district except at the designated protest site at Jantar Mantar. Police have warned that any attempt to march towards Parliament or hold an unauthorized gathering will invite legal actions. Security has been significantly tightened with multiple barricades, enhanced surveillance and additional police deployment around Parliament and other high security areas. Meanwhile, activist Sonam Wangchuk says he is continuing his indefinite hunger strike from Delhi's Safdarjung hospital after being shifted there by police following a deterioration in his health. Wangchuk has appealed to supporters to ensure today's protest remains peaceful. His wife stated that he is willing to end the fast if political leaders assure him that education accountability will be taken up during the monsoon session. Well, the protest coincides with the opening day of Parliament, where the opposition is expected to corner the government on multiple contentious issues, setting the stage for a stormy start to the session. Parliament's monsoon session is scheduled to run from July 20th to August 13th. Well, to give us latest updates on the story, we are now being joined live by our correspondent Dharamjot Kaur. Well, Dharamjot, what's the situation on the ground at this hour? Are protesters beginning to gather despite the Delhi police making it clear that no permission has been granted for the march to the Parliament?
Well, Adya, people are gathering despite what police may have said, and also despite the rain and the weather that is consistently changing today. It has also restarted raining, but people are still gathering as they have been for the past 2 days. In fact, if I could just ask my colleague to pan the camera around and show you this entire area. The designated protest site originally a month ago has now been widened. They have removed the barricades from the first point of entry and widened it to this entire area because of the massive influx of people over here. And so the crowd, which was only a few hundreds about about 6 weeks ago when the protest first took place on June 6th, now the scenes are completely different. We are seeing people gather in thousands and not just 2,000 or 3,000. This is beyond 10,000 to 20,000, and people are still pouring in. But as you rightly mentioned, police has said that there is no permission that has been sought or granted in terms of carrying a march to Parliament Street. However, the representatives of the Cockroach Janata Party, including the spokespersons, have said that they have been speaking to police officials and negotiating with them all night to get them to understand and to give them permission to march towards Parliament to put their demands forth in front of the administration as the Parliament session begins shortly. As of now, there is no confirmation in terms of whether the police has given that permission, and according to plan, the march is expected to start at 9 a.m. The big question, of course, remains whether or not that will actually be feasible given the legal framework that the police has mandated and what the CGP representatives are saying versus the ground reality of the thousands of people who have shown up, not just from Delhi, but from all across the country today.
Right, Dharamjot, with authorities indicating that only the protest at Jantar Mantar has been permitted and warning of action against any march towards Parliament is prohibited apparently. So what is the likelihood of protesters attempting to move ahead, and how prepared are the police to respond if they do so?
Well, there is a massive deployment as far as security personnel are concerned. There are vans and buses with riot police, with Delhi police, all geared up, all across the borders of the protest site. There are mainly 3 entry points to this particular designated site here at Jantar Mantar. And so all of them have been heavily barricaded. More barricades are being added as we speak. There are also ambulances here on standby in case there is a situation that requires medical attention, should that be the scenario. However, things are largely peaceful at this point. night. There are massive slogans and chants that are being heard, but there is no untoward incident. It is largely peaceful on the ground in terms of the thousands of people who have gathered over here. However, like I mentioned, the police has still not granted permission, and they are still saying that whatever this designated area of the protest is, which has been widened in the past 12 to 15 hours, mind you, this is the only place where protesters are allowed to gather and demonstrate. The march is still not allowed to the parliament for security reasons, also for the fact that the monsoon session will begin, and also given the swelling numbers, the police say that they have that right and the authority to take that decision while taking the larger law and order picture into consideration. Like I mentioned, it's been a long night of negotiations and talks between the two sides to allow for this march, but given the numbers, it does not seem that the police is going to budge from that movement. Having said that, there have also been other movement here. There were SWAT teams that were moving early in the morning at around 6 a.m. monitoring the entire area because Parliament Street is not very far from here. There are also water cannons and tear gas that has been installed at different sites in case police decides to use that on the protesters. The hope is it doesn't happen, but the next couple of hours, of course, are going to be very crucial and very dynamic in terms of how this entire demonstration unfolds.
Right, Dharamjot, we will be getting all the updates for our viewers, and will we be tracking the situation very closely. But thank you so much for getting us all the latest updates as of now.